Just another week closer to the regular season. Thank God. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Breaking Tackles, the New York Giants podcast, alongside with my co-host Manny. I'm Antonio, man. What's going on? What's going on, Manny? How are you doing, my brother? Manny, I can't hear you. Well, all right. So we'll can't hear you at all. So okay, we'll skip you for now. We'll go. Let me see if it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh,
I can hear you now.
All right. Sorry about that, yo. So everybody missed that complete intro, but we'll start over. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Breaking Tackles, Giants podcast. We are entering week 3 of the preseason. What's going on, everybody? With my co-host Manny, I'm Antonio. Manny, what's going on, baby? How you living? How you feeling?
Man, you said it, bro. Last preseason game of the preseason we about to go into. We 2 weeks away from the NFL season starting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun time of the year, so it's good to be back here with the boys. How's everyone else feeling?
I got you. Sal, what's going on, man? How's everything going with you, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
We got you here for this is the third week in a row we got you in here, bro. That's how much we love you, bro. So we appreciate you coming through, man. If anybody wants to hit up Sal, he's always around the same circles that we are. So he's at Queens_guy. Absolutely great, beautiful mind when it comes to the football, when it comes to everything, but football specifically, because that's what we're talking about here. And we got my man Vic in the building from Just a Giants Fan podcast. Did I get that right? Right, Just a Giants Fan podcast. Vic, what's going on, man? Thank you for coming to the show, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me and getting through that mouthful. Like, I know it's like a ridiculously long title for no fucking reason because it's real simple. But it's still it's a pain. Whenever I gotta log in, it's like, all right, let me take 10 minutes. You know.
Nah, man, that's what's up, man. And it's funny because when I first started in my own podcast journey, like for whatever reason I ran into your podcast, man, and it's funny. Now it's what my I think it's like my full second year doing my third year doing Breaking Tackles, but this is my second year podcasting, and it's long due to having the program, man. So I appreciate you coming through, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So we just wrapped up the game against the Bengals. Just want to get quick impression for you guys. Let's start with you, Manny. Just real quick. First, quick thoughts. What stood out for you about the Bengals game?
Man, on a positive note,
okay,
the O-line looked good for a second week in a row. The O-line looked good. And I know it's preseason against a lot of the second team and the third team and bankers and insurance writers, down the road, whatever. But nonetheless, our offensive line looked like dog water last year in preseason. And a lot of times during the season, obviously looked like a preseason offensive line out there. So the fact that they look good, even with the injuries that are there, I mean, Devery Hamilton,
that's what it's interesting about it. It's new guys coming in there and looking good too.
Devery Hamilton at left guard, at left tackle, the way he's been playing the last 2 preseason games and the way he's been taking over, for those injured guys, he's going to be on this team.
I'm kind of scared.
He's going to be on this team. He needs to be on this team.
That's what scares me, though. That it's looking way too good right now. I get it. It's 2s and 3s, but we're also not having our starters. We have some of our guys that are hurt. Why is it looking this good right now?
I mean, I think for my next reason, our tackles, Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, they looked good. They looked, especially Evan Neal. He looked better.
Okay.
The biggest bust. Yeah, right.
According to Charlie.
Yeah, no, he looked better, and he still had one pressure. He still almost got Tyrod sacked, and I'm starting to realize he doesn't play as good when Andrew Thomas is off the field. So, hey, interesting there.
Okay.
But I mean, I think honestly having those 2 bookend tackles playing very well, that's so encouraging, especially difference. Andrew Thomas. I mean, I have a number here. Yeah, no, I'll go into it later. I'm just really happy with this offensive line, how they've been looking, the 1s and the 2s and the 3s. You got a guy playing center that never played center ever, who, they still ran the ball very well. Offensively, we're able to get points when needed. It looks good. So
Protection
far,
was good. Yeah.
It's the preseason, but it looks good.
Yeah. Vic, what was something that stood out for you about this game, good or bad?
Well, I mean, Good is good to see Blake Martinez back on the field. Like he was only out for what, like 8 snaps, but he didn't look like he was favoring one leg or the other. You know, he didn't look slow. He just looked like, I'm getting my snaps back. Bad is probably that hit on Kayvon Thibodeau.
Kayvon and Beaver's gone.
It's Beaver's out for the year. I mean, I almost called him Tay Davis. Tay Crowder, his roster spot, he's cheap, and he started before. So he's probably going to make it anyway, but he's even more secure now.
He didn't look bad in that game.
And I was going to ask you, Vic, do you think, okay, so this is just hypothetical, obviously, but do you think that Beavers was going to win the starting spot over Crowder?
No, he's got the physical attributes though to take over for that second inside linebacker spot eventually. And if he had progressed fast enough, I would think this year it probably could have taken it. And imagine having him and Blake Martinez on the field at the same time.
Yeah,
like you got 2 beefcakes hitting you in the face every play.
That's why I would have not been surprised if he did get that start at least week 1 against freaking Derrick Henry, who's a truck, and you need to have trucks at linebackers too to play against Henry, because tackling that man is not a one-person job. You know what I'm saying? So you think, Manny? But I saw you nodding. You think that he would have won the job?
Yeah, I won't give a long-winded answer. I think so.
Okay, all right.
I think he would have eventually taken over that Tay Crowder spot.
I think eventually too, but I don't think he would have came out the season because Tay Crowder was getting too many reps with the ones, in my opinion, for him to start off the rap. But right. Sal, what was the good or bad for you, bro?
Yeah, I think Manny touched on it. The best part of this was definitely watching the offensive line play. They kept the pocket crisp. You saw that if you gave Daniel Jones a little bit of time, he could probably be, as Dave says it, the best version of himself, where he has enough time.
I like that.
To basically make the simpler reads that, I don't think he's ever going to be an elite quarterback, but to make the simple reads that he can hit somebody over the middle on a short or intermediate route. The best part of the offensive line, without doubt, to see. I mean, other than Andrew Thomas, who honestly, he's going against you. Andrew Thomas looks like an all-pro. I mean, his footwork, his hand work, everything.
He looks better. He looks better.
And keep in mind, the first couple of years he was using vertical sets. Now they're using 45-degree sets for the tackles and jump sets on the inside. So his technique has had to change for Robbie Johnson, but he is unreal. Like he's just mirroring. He's knocking guys' hands off of him. He just looks he really looks like unbeatable on the end. I mean, we got to see him against the ones, obviously, but he looks incredible. But Evan Neal's footwork was something to watch. I know shout out to Charlie, people freaking out about his footwork and his balance. And granted, he's a big, top-heavy guy. He tends to lean their balance is correct. But mostly it was footwork, I thought, with pass. He looked outstanding. He was mirroring guys. He was dancing. You know how Andrew Whitworth broke down his practice snap against, I think it was Kayvon, where he lost the rep. I mean, he said it's a dance, and you saw him. He was using his feet. He was trusting his feet. He was, following his blocks. And when he got guys engaged, with him, it's all over. If he's got his hands inside your breastplate and he's mirroring you, you're not getting past him. He's going to pancake you. And you saw that in a couple of blocks. So to me, that was by far the most impressive thing. The only other thing I would point out is that at this time of preseason, I'm looking at depth guys see who might fight for those last few roster spots. And it's late in the game, and he may or may not make the team. But how do you talk about this game without talking about
Bachman, right?
And I wasn't even on the radar, but this guy balled out, even if it was against guys who are never going to see the NFL. He played great. He found open seams. He put up a lot of yards.
Do you think that he earned a spot by that game?
I think he's definitely in contention for that 6 wide receiver spot. I don't think
I agree.
It's sealed.
I agree. I think he needs to ball out week 3 also. Exactly. I think he needs to ball out this week too.
Yep. So those are the things that I took away from that game.
For me, I would say this. First and foremost, Daniel Jones looked good. He went 14 out of 16. And that was what I absolutely want to see out of him, bro. I want to see him just take those dump off passes when he can. Everything about it, I felt like I was just this is the formula that we need to win games in the regular season. If this is the best that we're gonna get. Now, the one thing that I would say is not about just Daniel Jones, but all the quarterbacks. The deepest throw, the deepest connection was I believe it was 22 yards or something like that. So we need a big playability in this offense. It can't just be everything 11 drives, 7 drives, 8, 9, 10 drives. There needs to be a quick attack. I hope we see that coming up. And then the thing that I just didn't like, obviously losing Beavers I didn't like, but what I don't like also is just like people not feeling optimistic about this team, and you can't help that. But yo, everything looks decent. Like I love even when I'm seeing from the defense. Like I just, again, people keep trying to tell me not to be optimistic about this team, but I keep seeing things that I'm just like, I'm not ready to keep
pulling you back.
Not ready to say this team is like a 4-6 win team. I'm not ready to say that because I see our defense and I'm like, okay, like they get around. I see our offense and I'm like, okay, they're moving the ball. They're not scoring, but they're moving the ball at least. I don't know. That's just how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's like they're like Chingy. They just keep bringing you back, especially around this time of the year. So, I won't lie. One thing that probably still concerns me, we haven't talked about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't given my concern. That secondary scares me. Outside of Love, outside of Adoree', I'm kind of like, I like him.
They're not even
the injuries with him.
They're not even.
Me.
Yeah, that's true. But they're not even targeting Adoree'. So
yeah,
that has
Love,
to be he's playing really good.
CB2 is what worries me the most, and specifically Aaron Robinson. And he looked a little better this game.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's preseason. You got to kind of put that blanket statement on these games. But he's built to be a slot in the NFL with the aggressiveness, how he plays, and that's what he played in college. The fact that he's getting thrusted in to be an outside corner, it might help. I think it might help his game down the road because
it's easier.
I think it'll help his game once he gets to finally be that slot cornerback, because hopefully the Giants are going to get a CB1 or CB2 this offseason. I'm already thinking about this offseason, sorry. But once, like, I'm just hopeful that Aaron Robinson, that pass rush can do them a favor and the running backs can do them a favor, because that secondary, I am fearful for that, for the how Aaron Robinson's looked.
The pass rush hasn't gotten there, bro. The pass rush hasn't gotten there, that's for sure. We haven't gotten the pass rush. We've gotten a lot of penalties, which is almost the equivalent of pass rush, but we haven't seen sacks or QB hits like that, to be honest. As far as I could tell, I didn't watch the Cincinnati tape yet. I haven't seen the 22 tape, but that's also like, hey, are we gonna start giving time to these quarterbacks? But at the same time, we still don't even know if Wink is throwing really the kitchen sink right now.
Yeah, plus Leonard Williams wasn't playing in this game, and I think that D-line goes where he goes. So I think that's something that should be talked about as well too.
I got you. So I just want to say what's hasn't been answered for you so far, and I'll start with you, Sal. What questions do you still have about this team that you're like, I'm not getting enough evidence to support, or I'm not getting enough evidence to answer my question?
I think that there are a couple of things that we don't know yet on the offensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is by design, but we're not seeing the role of Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, when they drafted Wan'Dale, I was as big a supporter of Wan'Dale as anybody out there. I loved his tape at Kentucky.
Right.
And I kind of don't care about, or at least I didn't care about his size, because he's jacked, right?
He's like a running back. He's like a running back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to lose contested balls if the ball's thrown accurately, and he's shifty. He gets separation. So I like his game. We haven't seen him used at all really in the preseason, outside of a couple of small screens, and very different than what we heard about in practice.
They've attempted like an end around with him, I think, and that didn't go nowhere neither.
Couple of screens, an end around, and that's completely the opposite of what we heard in training camp out of practice, where you heard people like Xavier McKinney saying he's a problem.
So just remind me. Okay, so they were just talking about he's a problem, but they didn't say what they wanted to use him for, correct?
So when they drafted him, Joe Shane made it specific that we have a very specific role for him. And we have very specific plans for him. And if you heard Brandon Brown's interview last week when he talked about the draft philosophy, he said that, you know, the goal of the GM and the assistant GM is to listen to their coaches about what they're looking for, what kind of attributes they want, what type of player he's like, and then it's our job to go. The words he used were grocery shopping. So, you know, if you think about them creating a shopping list and you come out with a second round pick on Wan'Dale Robinson, you have to believe what they're looking for is a guy who's extraordinarily good at change of direction, shifty, who's going to be, you know, what he was at Kentucky, which is a high volume kind of attribute receiver, a guy who was always open over the middle. I think he got over 100 balls last year from Will Levis. He was their go-to guy. So you have to believe that he's going to be a big part of the passing game. They just have not, almost purposely not showcased him at all.
So my question to you guys is this, because now that you mentioned Wan'Dale, that automatically I thought of Sterling Shepard. My question to you guys is Shepard going to come in, get in the slot, take away snaps away from Wan'Dale?
I don't think so. You know, I think Shep is playing. I think and we can get in the injury list later today in the cut down the roster. He's not on up. I think they expect him to be on the 53, but I don't think him being here takes away snaps from Wan'Dale. I don't think so. No, Vic? I actually think they're just not showing off Wan'Dale right now.
Okay, Vic, what about you? Think Shep affects Wan'Dale at all?
Not really. Like the complaint you see with a lot of people is like, oh, we got redundant receivers on here because you got Shep, Tony, and Wan'Dale, and it's like, yeah, well, redundancy doesn't hurt because now you got a guy who can come in. Let's say you are one type per receiver, you know, slot. Like you got backup. You don't have to change the offense when someone gets injured.
And I wouldn't even put Shep in the Tony Wan'Dale category neither. There's
exactly.
That's not.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Tony in that. I think Tony.
But you see that.
So here's the thing, and this is a little sidetrack. A wide receiver could have a couple of different archetypes in him. Like I could see Tony as a deep threat, but I also see that he has some slot threat to him too. Also like a route runner. I see Slayton as just a 9 guy, so deep threat, right? I see Golladay as a straight up possession. I see Wan'Dale as kind of the hybrid deep threat / slot guy, and I see Shepard as exclusively slot, move the chain. I think of Shepard and I think of Cooper Kupp. Obviously they're way different levels, but I think Shep has the route running ability of a Cooper Kupp, to be honest, at the slot.
I think Shep's a little more. Maybe I give him a little more credit than you do because I think he can do a little bit of everything. You're not going to use him.
I just don't think that you don't get him for a 9 route. I don't think you send Shek on a 9 route. Do you think so?
No, but he's enough of a threat doing like on the deep ball because his hands are sure enough. His release is good enough. He knows how to work a corner to where if he's running a 9, you can't just go, they're not throwing it.
I just can't remember.
Treat him that way.
I can't remember the last time where I saw Shep really holding it down on the X or the C, so the outside receivers. I can't remember the last time that I saw that. But then when he's in the Y, when he's in the slot, he's a monster. It's like, I'm like, holy shit, where is this guy? And obviously the thing about him is he doesn't stay on the field. But I love him in the slot. I'm like, who's gonna guard this guy? Like, I can pull out film on him, and I'm just like, this guy freaking run routes like really crisp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, his best work is in traffic over the middle. Like I'm not disputing that or arguing that.
But you're like he can ball also in the outside too.
I think he's good, and while that's not his like best, part of his repertoire, like he does work out there. Part of the problem with Jason Garrett's offense was everybody got used pretty, for lack of a better phrase, stereotypically. We're gonna use Shep in the slot,
and he's gonna stay there.
X, Y, and
he's gonna stay there.
Yeah. And it's just and not effectively. It's like what most people playing Madden would call and fit in there. It wasn't creative at all. It's a lot of recency bias because I feel like with Shermer, they used him more on the outside than we saw at all.
I agree. I forgot about that.
So Shep. To go back to the original question, Shep doesn't affect Wan'Dale, not at all.
Okay, perfect.
They're going to use guys where they want them to, and they're going to swap guys in and out, I think, just to keep them fresh. So guys are running full speed in the fourth quarter.
So
and it's like what I told you, Tony.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to find out what Daniel Jones is, and Daniel Jones' best weapon, the guy he has the most chemistry with outside of David Seals, is Sterling Shepard.
So Shep, I think with Daniel Jones, he just loves the interior receiver, whether it's a tight end or a slot. He loves his inside guys more than anything else. So I agree with you. I think so. Shep would be, and he has that continuity with Shep, so he will go more to Shep. But in terms of so here's my other question, because I think you guys are all saying it correctly. Wan'Dale is not gonna affect Shep. Do you have Shep and Wan'Dale at the same time on the field though? And if not, how many snaps is Shep taking, and how many snaps is Wan'Dale taking? Let's say they're healthy. It's week 5. What are we looking at here? Because we have on offense. What do we have? How many snaps on offense do we have? No, I'm just offensive snaps. Like 60 snaps an offense gets like about in a game.
Generally, 60, 65, maybe a little more if the defense can't stay on the field.
How many snaps would you guys say Shep is on the field and Wan'Dale is on the field? They're both healthy. We're talking about week 7.
It depends on if Galladay's injured or not.
Yeah. And Tony.
They're all
if those
everybody's
guys are
healthy.
injured, 100%.
Everybody's healthy. What's the snap count on Shep and what's the snap count on Wan'Dale?
I'll answer it real quick, and I think Galladay and Shepard would probably be. I think Shepard would probably be on the field the whole time. I don't think you take him off the field.
Shepard?
I think
or Galladay?
Shepard.
Okay.
Shepard. Because Galladay, I think he'll be on the field for a good chunk. Mm-hmm. But I could see them taking him out and putting in, Wan'Dale here in those moments, or not necessarily I could see Galladay being the odd man out just because.
So here's my question: you just finished saying Shep is going to be on the field 100% of the time. Let's say, for example, are we running a 10? Are we running a 10 personnel where we're going to have Wan'Dale, we're going to have Shep, we're going to have Tony, and we're going to have Galladay at the field at the same time? Like, is that going to be our base personnel?
I think you could see that as well. Like Bellinger not being on the field, no tight end sets. I think you can see that as well. I think you can even see a set where
it's tight end, no running back.
I think you can see a set. I mean, they had it. Wan'Dale was in the backfield some spots during practice, and so was KT. I think you can see both of those. So,
Vic, same question to you.
Shep needs to be healthy for sure.
Same question to you.
I think that's really hard to answer. But if everyone's healthy, I wouldn't be surprised. Wan'Dale and Shep 20-30% of the snaps, just because there's so many different packages they can run.
Okay.
I don't anticipate. I would love to see a more 10 personnel mixed in.
Me too.
But I'm not sure how feasible it's going to be. Just it depends on the blocking up front. If we go to crap the second we start seeing competitive first string defensive lines, like we're gonna have 2 tight ends, whoever is number 2 behind Bellinger. We're gonna see 2 tight ends in a lot.
So shout out to Cookie Monster. He said Shep and Wan'Dale are both gonna be on the field. We'll see. Sal, how do you think that's gonna break down?
Yeah. So I mean, the clues are in 2 things, right? Mm-hmm. What we did so far in preseason, we ran 11 personnel, I think 61% of the time.
It's been a lot.
I think that's our base formation.
I think so too.
And I think that's essentially what you see out of Buffalo and Kansas City. They largely run 11 personnel as the most common personnel setting. I don't see a lot of 10 personnel. I mean, we'll have it, but I don't think that's going to be used more than 10, 50% of the time at the most. I think special situations. So, and there's a lot of reasons for 11. 11 is pretty successful, but also keep in mind we have a rookie right tackle, and we drafted a blocking Y tight end, right? So I think all these things, when you start putting the pieces together, you're going to want Bellinger on the field a lot of times for those chip blocks, quick chips, or at least
for the
occupying space for the help on Neal until he has his feet set.
Yeah.
So assuming you have 11, you got 3 wideouts, right? I'm going to take a little bit of a different view on this. This organization owes Kenny Galladay and Sterling Shepard absolutely nothing. They gave Shep a massive pay cut just to keep a job and stay here.
And they paid him.
They paid him, but they're paying him very little,
Yeah, I mean, they gave him a contract. They gave him an extension. They drafted him. They've done enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I'm like, Shep doesn't need to be on the field.
I think what's the point of this season, right? The point of the season, some people think, is just to find out what Daniel Jones is. I don't believe that for a second.
And it could be, but it also is to find out who the hell the rest of your team is too, right?
I think the Daniel Jones question is more of like a secondary question to these guys. I don't believe for a second that's their primary question. Like, and what I mean by that is, like if he forces himself into the equation, that's one thing. But otherwise, the point of the season is develop a brand new roster, develop these young players, figure out what formations work. And the only way you do that is give reps to these young guys you brought in and drafted. So I actually think Wan'Dale Robinson is going to get more reps than any other wide receiver on this team.
But they might be easing Shep in too. He had a torn Achilles, so they might be easing him into it in the beginning.
Yeah, I think Shep. I'd be surprised if he got more than 50%.
Shep is definitely not going to get that many snaps at the beginning of the week one.
I just think that his and I like Shep a lot, but I just don't think that they're going to use him as much.
Shep might be trade bait by week 7 if he stays completely healthy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Wan'Dale is the guy they want to definitely, see what he can do out there a lot. If he's healthy, I think Tony is a guy that, as long as he's healthy, he's on the field. You're not going to see Tony getting pulled off the field. So those two guys are the guys I would bet on the vast majority of reps going to. And I think Golladay is in danger of losing a lot of reps. I mean, we have to see what happens week 1, but there's something wrong there.
Right.
And unless it's all a big smoke screen, you have to start wondering if they're like, hey, we're going to move on from this guy in 1 year anyway. We're going to give him a chance, but we're not going to sink our season waiting for this guy to develop. We're going to put our other guys out there. So that's how I feel about what's going to happen this year.
Copy. Vic, I'm going to go back to you, and I'm going to go back to the original question. What's something right now that you haven't gotten enough information about in the preseason? Something that kind of is like concerning you right now, or just something you need to see more of?
I would like to. It's not going to happen in the preseason. I would like to see more Saquon. Honestly, I want to know where he's at physically, because scheme wise, you're only going to see so much of it in the preseason. Like when you're looking at starters, especially ones coming off injury, what I'm looking for is like, are they favoring that leg? How do they look when they cut? How hard are they able to cut? Those sorts of things. I would like to, and again, we're not going to see it now because he's injured, but I would have liked to see a little more Kayvon processing faster. Because I think that hit that he took,
it's because he didn't process fast enough.
Is because, like, to me, like, I watched it back. I still stand by my statement. Like, if
what did
he had torn something, well, if I still stand by the statement that, like, if he had gotten carted off, Moss was gonna get stabbed in the parking lot at the end of the night. I put that on Twitter. Like, you were lucky he walked away.
I was not expecting that at all.
But clean or not, it was a clean hit to me. Like what I see when I watch it is like Thibodeau has his eyes like on the running back at first, sees the block coming across late, and then like he looks like at first he's making the decision to just take the block on hard. Take the block on hard, and then went, oh shit, actually I can like reverse that. Like he's gonna
use his hands.
Yeah, push and try and swim past it, and then like goes, I'm at the wrong depth to be trying to do that, to catch it. It's not right, and then tries to lower his shoulder and just fucks it up. It's just.
So I've seen that over and over, and it's so funny because it's like it feels like they're both scared. Both Moss and Tibbs look scared because Moss is like bracing for impact. Because as an outside contained guy, if nobody is blocking you, like if nobody picks you up, you're automatically thinking somebody's gonna come in and they're gonna mess me up. Like that's always what I thought about when I was playing football. Like I didn't play defense in college. I played defense in high school, but I was outside linebacker in strong safety in a 5-2. And when I saw that nobody picked me up, I'm like, there's somebody pulling and somebody's gonna come and knock me out. Cause I was a small kid playing outside linebacker. I should have not been playing that shit. But long story short, the thing is, you have to keep on moving and then use your shoulder. You could either use your shoulder to, if like you're at an angle that you got to make a play, or if it's not coming completely at you, you could square up to the guy that's coming to you And if he's gonna hit you, boom, you could like helmet to helmet him, and you could both crash like Rams, or you could use your hands if he's gonna go after you, and you could just move your legs out the way, kind of like a Olay type of stuff like that.
I heard Carl Banks saying something like that in the Believe podcast he has, and he was saying the exact same thing, because in that moment you could probably F up that dude up real good, and it's gonna put it in the back of his mind not to do that block again, and it's also gonna it's probably gonna put in the coach's mind, okay, we can't put that tight end on an island like that and see him get demolished.
But what happened when I saw it, it's like I saw Thanos like, oh shit, I'm gonna get hit, and then I saw also Tibbs like, oh shit, I'm gonna get hit, and it's like, what is going on? And then Musk was like, okay, I gotta go down, and then he went down and he took down his legs, and at that time like Tibbs was like in a weird angle. But if also what I heard somebody say was like Tibbs was worried about the end around, and that's why he didn't realize what was like he was a little bit lost when it wasn't even his responsibility. It was middle linebacker, what's his name, not Martinez, the other guy that's gonna be starting now,
Crowder.
It was Tate Crowder's responsibility. If the end around came, it was him that's supposed to pick it up. So it was just him trying to process too much. In football, you can't freaking process too much in the game. You gotta let your feet work, and then if you make a mistake, cool. That's why you have the coaches in the sideline like, yo, you got to do this, and that better. If you're trying to process shit in the middle of a game, you're going to get hurt or worse. I mean, either you're going to give up a big play or worse, you could get hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Thank God that my man has tiger blood in him and that his ACL is thick and that it's only an MCL sprain.
Well, he's getting a second opinion, though. So
it's going to be an MCL sprain. More than likely, I probably don't see him coming back until week 3 if you're being if you're being like healthy.
I just hope James Andrews doesn't say something else, man.
He might be a freak and come back week 1. He might be, because the fact that they're even mentioning that and they're not immediately saying he's out week 1, we'll see.
So Manny, I'll go to you now. What is something that you haven't seen enough of that you need? Like I'm still missing. I'm still having an incomplete answer on X amount of, or XYZ, you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to act and sound like just, a broken record. The secondary, I've been seeing, like, even in the backside, like Vic, me and Sal have our agendas. I'm a Zion Gilbert guy. He's a Darren Evans guy. None of those guys have shown me anything, like any type of excitement to be like, yeah, we have a good depth and secondary. They just don't look like they just aren't. It's just something. It's just not there, and it just looks awkward for shout out Cookie Monster. It's just awkward for Aaron Robinson. It just doesn't look like. It just doesn't, like the secondary depth behind them doesn't look very good. They're not taking the ball away, which I get it. It's preseason, but you also have, like. I would like to see an interception not just by our linebacker, who's probably not going to be on the team. So that I'm just really, really worried about that because of everything. Like, yeah, we're excited about Kayvon Thibodeau when he gets on the field.
Right.
We're excited to see this D-line. Blake Martinez has shed weight, looks great, has an arm sleeve tattoo. It's awesome. Like this. We talk about it, bro. We're a big Xavier McKinney show. We love Xavier. We think he's going to take that next step. I'm a big Julian Love fan. I think he's going to be able to continue to.
You think he's going to take the next step? I don't think there's any next step to take.
I'm hopeful. I think Dory doesn't get as much respect as he should, and I think he deserves a little more love than what he gets. But I'm worried. I am worried about that secondary. More specifically, I'm worried if an injury happens.
So
that's going to worry me. Which, I mean, the theme of the season is RX. We're all injured.
By the way, Vic, so Manny told me about McKinney's season last year, and he just pointed out the numbers for me. And then I just compare and contrast. He pretty much had a all-pro type of season. He just didn't get no type of accolades for it. Like, not Pro Bowl, no nothing. If he has the exact same season as last season, like, he's probably at least going to get the Pro Bowl, maybe even get All-Pro. So that's why I'm like, yo, this guy, if he has a better season than last year, this guy's on his way to the Hall of Fame. So just to give you a heads up on that. Like, That's where I don't think he's gonna do any better than that. It's crazy.
Well, part of his problem is he plays on the Giants.
Exactly. No, and that's why they completely. Yeah.
Andrew Thomas.
Right. Andrew Thomas probably should have gotten some type of Pro Bowl consideration as long as McKinney, but we're the laughing stock of the NFL right now.
Well, Tone, what have you wanted to see more of?
Yeah. So here's the thing, and this was brought up on Twitter. So like I'm kind of going with what you were saying, Manny. Julian Love and also Arcona Robinson. So everybody's like, Julian Love is so versatile. He's holding extra points. He's holding field goals and stuff like that. But I don't care about your versatility. Can you make impact plays on the field? And that's my problem with Julian Love. And somebody said, he's only had 600 snaps last year. He wasn't even there for the full season. Great. But give me... you're in preseason now. You're with the starters now. What's your impact now? What are you doing now? So I don't have enough evidence right now on Julian Love. I don't need someone who knows his assignments and is not going to mess up in terms of blowing an assignment. That's not good enough for me. You don't deserve to be on the field just because you're an average guy. You deserve to be on the field because you're athletically gifted and you can make a play that's going to turn over the game. So I need that strong safety position to give me more because it's in the box. It's going to be important. Nowadays, a strong safety is just another linebacker. And we don't have fast linebackers. So we need that guy to be fast reacting and making moves. I'm praying that, is it Belton? The guy who broke his collarbone? Yeah, Dane Belton. I hope that he comes back quick and I hope that he starts getting reps at strong safety. That's what my concern is right now.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely. I mean, I don't think he has a sling on. They didn't put him on IR or anything like that, so
he should be back soon. His pops tweeted me. He was like, he's coming back soon. So
shout out, Dad Belton.
Yeah, shout out to Pop Belton, man, for hitting me up on that. So yeah, I guess we could pretty much go to the last segment where it's like, what are you guys looking forward to in the last and I'll start with you, Manny. I'll rebound it right back to you. What are you looking for in game 3 of the preseason, our last licks?
I am excited to see Tyrod Taylor start the game because I don't want the starters playing at all like in this preseason game. That's good. We're done. We got it.
By the way, the Jets are treating this as their dress rehearsal game. So just keep that in mind.
That's awesome. That's great.
Exactly. Same thing I said.
Good. That's awesome. I don't want the starters to play. Yeah, and I get it. Maybe Evan Neal, yeah, he can play.
Evan Neal? I don't even want him to play.
Here's the thing. I get, like, if it's Andrew Thomas, he's in his third year. He's proven.
Call it. Yes.
McKinney, same thing. Love, same thing. Dex. Certain players, but Evan Neal's still a rookie.
I get you. Okay, I respect that.
Albeit he did have. I mean, I have the numbers for how he did offensively on the offensive line. I mean, I think between him and Andrew Thomas, they had like one pressure between the both of them.
Holy shit!
And Evan Neal looked good, but I want to see that. And you don't have to put him out there for the whole half. Get him a series. Let him feel good. He's going to go up against a good edge, more than likely against Carl Lawson or, the other Quentin Williams in some sets.
Mm-hmm.
Just see him do good, see him progress, have Glowinski there so you can have those guys tied in or not, whatever. I just would not, I would feel okay if Evan Neal starts. Other than that, don't even put anyone else on there.
Okay.
Don't even. Wan'Dale Robinson, yeah, keep him out there because he needs to get more reps.
Okay.
But I'm worried with injuries, and I'm as much as I'm like kind of sitting here saying like, listen, we're not the only team that's been injured.
Next man up. Listen.
They're gonna.
You get hurt, bro. Move on.
They're gonna practice with the Jets Thursday. Mm-hmm. They're gonna be able to have a manufactured practice that's gonna be very much like, stimulated pressure, stimulated game, all that stuff. They're gonna be able to control it a lot better, and then that should be enough.
Okay.
I don't think Daniel Jones is going to do anything to convince anybody that he's the guy going into the season. I don't think this team is going to do anything to prove it. So I think they just.
So you want to see rookies and you want to see guys that are in the bubble take snaps in week 3, and you just want to see that play out.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I want to continue to see this offensive line go.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see these
that
guys
third
go.
week in a row of them being productive.
I want to see Avery Hamilton pancake some fools, and I want to see them continuing to move the ball and look good. But I don't need to see the starters start. I'm good.
You.
We're good.
Vic, what are you looking forward to week 3 of the preseason?
I'm a little on the fence on what Manny is saying.
Me too.
I don't want to see injuries.
Me
but
too.
I want this, given the big just void that I feel we have on the interior of the offensive line. I want that line to get as many snaps as possible.
So you want to see the starters play.
At the same time, too, I don't want, because it's the Jets, I don't want a Mekhi Becton situation where like someone takes an arrow to the knee and fucking now they're out. You know what I mean? Like it's it's like it makes me nervous. I do want to see more Blake Martinez. I want to see more than 8 snaps from Blake Martinez. Like I really, the selfish part of me wants to see it because I want to see like. I fucking love anytime one of our people's doing well in the NFL. Like I get mad hype. So I want to see that he's healthy and fast and can do it for more than a series or 2. Like I want to physically see it, but that's me being selfish.
Right.
Most of all, I can't wait to see who wins this backup white boy receiver battle. Whoever does better on special teams. Like if Bachman has another performance, not just on offense, but on special teams.
So who's going to be the kick returner? Because it's not going to be CJ Board, right? Or is it? Maybe?
It might be but on kickoff, if he can have that impact on kickoff like he did.
So you think CJ Board is safe on this team?
He needs to be cut.
He needs to be cut, man. I don't know.
Cut because if it wasn't for him, Kayvon wouldn't have gotten hurt.
I don't even know. I guess because he got another possession. I got you. I just don't think I don't see it out of CJ Board, guys. Like I don't know. I think our special teams is so trash.
He's only good. He only gets a good return if there's a holding call.
There's specific things to like about CJ Board.
In terms of what?
He is fast. He has speed, and
so he's
like not just long speed, agility.
Okay. So he's good. You think that we should give him reps at wide receiver too?
The problem is that we have so many fucking
receivers
is that he just might be a casualty. Like last year, especially. Like,
Big Pat, what's going on, man? Go ahead, Vic.
It would plays where I see CJ Board in the field, and I'm like, damn. Like if you had like 2 years more experience, you could cook guys. You know what I mean? Just seeing what he can do physically, but he just may end up being a cap casualty. That's why, or like a roster casualty. That's why like I'm excited about the white boys because like I know they both can play special teams. David Still's not so much, but like whoever wins that, especially on coverage, they gotta. I think that they're the wide receiver 6 between one of those two.
No chance that any of those 2 guys, Sills or Bachman, make the practice squad instead of the roster, or there's no chance of that.
I forget what the practice squad rules are now because like they started introducing like the veteran stuff where you can have like guys with 3 years or more.
You
experience
could definitely
be.
You just gotta clear waivers if you're a vet. You gotta clear waivers. Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Like, does Bachman clear waivers after this past week? Like, or does the team go, we suck at receiver, we want you?
So I really think Bachman, if Bachman has another game, he could win a roster spot. Like if he has another crazy game, yeah, I agree with you on that. 100%. That's definitely true. That's what about Slayton? Just before I even go to Sal, what about Slayton? Slayton cut?
He's getting traded.
He's getting traded. Yeah, I said at the same time. He's getting traded. Okay.
He's relatively cheap for a receiver with experience. Like he's what, $2 million that we don't have. So he's gonna get traded. He might get traded for a 7th, a conditional 7th,
right?
Because it's like everyone knows he's probably gonna get a cut, but he's gonna get traded.
How he gets traded?
I think they're gonna definitely try to trade him. I hope we don't run into the situation we ran into at Bradbury, where teams are like, "Yeah, we know you want the space. We'll wait you out." That's a possibility, but I think that there's too many teams at this point, this close to the season, they're gonna want a receiver. You're gonna get something back for Darius Slayton. I don't think you get a lot of draft capital back from him. You're probably getting like a 6 at best.
6 at best,
right? But I'm thinking more.
He's a 6 anyway, so it's all right, right?
Right, but I'm thinking more along the lines of like a player swap. Like I think this is you got a team that might have an offensive lineman, an interior lineman, or a backup DB, or somebody you can use. I think that's what I'm looking for in Slayton to swap out. So we'll see.
So unanimous. You guys all think he's not here after week 3 of the
Yeah.
So,
okay.
He's going to get the Ryan Santoso deal.
So I'm the only guy, Big Pat, I'm the only guy that's on the Slayton bandwagon. I am not feeling good about that bandwagon. I think that's going to crash. But I also am going to buy a lot of stocks of him in fantasy football if he ends up in a really good quarterback situation.
I could see him getting traded to a team like Green Bay.
Packers, right? If he ends up in the Packers, I'm drafting him in all my leagues.
Or even like the Broncos. Like, they lost Patrick earlier in the offseason. They could use another wide receiver there.
If he ends up with an elite quarterback, bro, I'm all in on that man.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I think the Giants. I hear something. Shout out Big Pat. Shout out Cookie Monster. I hear Big Pat saying Slayton gets no love. I think a part of us is kind of like, hey, if the Giants went carte blanche and went completely brand new with the front office and everything else, I think all of us have kind of just said, all right, cool. Let's not be married to these players that, like, is Slayton going to get a contract after this season? Probably not.
Right.
He's already going to be gone as a Giant.
I get what you're saying.
Let's just, I'd rather keep him than cut him.
Yeah.
But if you can trade him, I'd rather do that.
Okay.
He's going to get 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns in Dallas. Watch, he'll get traded or cut and like ball out somewhere. I like Slayton.
Yeah.
He ain't making this roster.
Yeah, mistakes. What you got? What do you think? What are you looking forward to this game coming up?
Yeah. Go ahead,
I actually do think they should play the offense for at least 2 to 3 series, just like they did in the last game. I don't think you want to have these guys sitting on their butts for 3 weeks and doing nothing.
It's 3 weeks from week 3 to the Titans?
Week 2. So if you don't play them this coming up week, they're gonna have 3 weeks off between the game that they played against the Bengals and the Titans. So
yeah,
I think you got to get these guys. You got to get these guys in the field.
Yeah, right.
I know we're worried about injuries. Okay. We're worried about injuries, but at the end of the day, like, it's football. You can't control this stuff, right? Guys get hurt. So I think you play them at least like a couple of series, get them out there. I don't need to see Saquon. I agree. The rest of the guys, I do want to see them out there.
Vic needs to see Saquon.
Yeah. Now, like, I think this is. I mean, if you think about it, this is the time where this is your last shot to see a couple of guys that maybe you're rookies that you want to see play, and really more importantly, the back end of your roster. That's more. It makes the roster, right? Like, so like if we talk about this. If we're carrying 6 receivers, Galladay's gonna have a spot because we can't do anything with him.
Right.
Tony, Wandell, that's 3. I think Johnson has earned a spot at this point.
I think
it
so
would
too.
be really wild.
Yeah. Shout out UT.
Yeah, that's 4. I think Richie James is our kick receiver. Okay, I think he's our punt returner, our kick returner. And
have we seen? Okay, but what have we seen from James that everybody's locking this man in?
So I think in training camp, this guy was doing phenomenal.
100. I went to one of the camps. I thought he was killing it.
And he caught the touchdown in the first game from Tyrod, where he showed that great inside move where he read that they were going into a cover 0, and he broke his route, went to the end zone, got an easy touchdown. So he does the things you want to see from a receiver. I think he's 5.
Okay.
I think we're going with 6 receivers. The last guy's got to be a special teams guy who has some value. So you're down to
CJ Board?
Board, Sills, or Bachman. I think you're down to those 3. I don't think
Slayton
Doss. No Keelan Doss. I think Slayton gets traded because we need those $2 million.
The other 5.
And I actually, right now, I'd have to give the edge to Bachman. The way he played.
I don't see Sills at all in this team. I just feel like his archetype is the same as Galladay, the same as Colin Johnson. And you can't have those 3 guys on the team. Like, that's just the same type of wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it that maybe Sills might be a good special teams player, but you have to worry about offense, defense first before you worry about special teams first. what I'm saying?
And on the defensive side, there are roster spots still up for grabs, right? Like, I mean, you got to ask yourself, how many people are they carrying on the defensive line? I don't think it's set in stone, right? I think you got your top two in Dex and Leonard Williams. You're probably carrying Ellis or maybe or at least Holmes or Ellis, one of those two guys.
I think Nick Williams.
Nick Williams is fighting for a job. So is DJ Davidson, right? These are all guys who are fighting for a spot. Although I think Davidson got hurt. I don't know where he is now.
I think he's good. They said he came back that game.
Yeah, and the outside linebackers with Tavon not starting the season. Well, actually, he's probably going to be on the active roster, so he's got a spot. I think they're carrying 6 outside linebackers. Believe it or not, or at least 5.
Yeah. And low key,
and
low key, I see Carter Coughlin making this roster at one of those sides because of his versatility. And I mean, just this last game, he had 2 pressures on 9 pass rush snaps. That's pretty good in 9 snaps.
And that's what I was kind of getting to. Like when you lose, when Blake is coming off injury and you lose Darian Beavers is a huge loss, right? Yeah. You're depending on Tay Crowder, who granted he looked better. He's actually making tackles.
I think it's just the scheme that's also making these middle linebackers look better because I don't see them playing I don't see them guarding a lot of tight end or a lot of slots, which we did see shit like that last year. I see them playing man on running backs, and I'm like, dude, that's perfect. Like these guys aren't even good enough to play pass coverage, but they're definitely good enough to play angles on the running back coming from the backfield. So I think the scheme is helping out these middle linebackers a lot.
You need 4 of these guys, though, right? I mean, realistically, you need 4 of them. And
100%.
You've got Blake. You got Blake, Tay. I think Tay Crowder's safe now. Obviously, McFadden's going to make the team.
McFadden.
And then it comes. I think Cam Brown. Are we going to count him?
I think so.
As a middle linebacker. So
I think
so. Either him or Coughlin. One of those guys. And obviously the secondary we've talked about. I think the safety room is pretty set. I think Belton's starting on the team with McKinney, Love, and I think Adams. That's your 4.
I agree with you 100%.
They might carry a 5th. I don't know.
Yusuf Coker, maybe.
I don't have. But in the DB room, we are way low on depth, man. I mean, Robinson and Adoree and Darnay. That's 3. Flott, hopefully he's healthy. That's 4. Elijah Griffin, maybe. Yeah, I mean, the guys we talked about last week. Gilbert and Evans just looked terrible, and now you got Warren G-Son in the mix, right? Elijah Griffin. And he actually looked pretty good. He's small. I mean, he's not a big guy. He's a skinny dude.
Yo, that corner room is scary. That's a scary room, bro. It's so
that's where I want it
bad.
I think we're either getting a veteran or we're trading for somebody to look out for. Believe it or not, who might be on the block is Greedy Williams in Cleveland. He's falling on the depth chart a little bit over there, and I don't know what
now.
Can we afford him?
I don't know what it would take.
Can we afford him?
Oh,
he's on a rookie deal.
Rookie deal, okay.
And he was a 2nd round pick, so it's not. Yeah.
Okay.
It's still a valid question. It's still a valid question because we got no money.
We can't afford him right now unless we move people.
Well, I mean, if Darius Slayton gets traded and that $2 million is off the books.
Sure.
Well,
and also, Vic, I'm a big Tapasu Gaze guy.
So it will be a good swap to do that.
Well, I think you'd have to put in something.
We gotta throw in like a 4th or 5th or something like that.
Give up Darius Slayton and a 4th for Greedy Williams, right? That's the kind of thing that they're gonna be looking at.
I don't mean to cut anyone off, my bad, but Vic just said it. Rodarius Williams on this roster too.
Right, his brother is here, right?
That's Oh, bro, yeah, that's true. So there's that's secondary room.
By the way, shout out to Monty. That was his idea. I saw it on Twitter earlier. I think it's a great idea to chase Greedy if he's available. Or Tevin
Shout out
Jenkins.
Monty.
Right, yeah. Tevin Jenkins is on the block in Chicago. We need an interior offensive lineman. He's a bit of a head case, but you know what? Your head case for our cap casualty is not a bad trade. They have no receivers left in Chicago. Not that they care. They don't seem to care. But, they are tanking like nobody's business. But I can see that trade happening too. So
I think another guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I'm just saying this is how I think I see us filling out the roster to just try to get assets that will be useful this year and maybe going forward. Get rid of some guy like Slayton and just try to shore up the secondary. I mean, the best we can.
Yeah. No, that's true. I think going back to the offensive line, we're talking about guys on the bubble. I think a dude that can make this team. We're talking about interior. We need help there. Chris Owens, that they just signed like, a few days before the game. I mean, he finished with the highest pass blocking grade of anybody on the team, and he was on the field for 36 blocking snaps. Did not allow a single pressure. And as a dude, and I get it. Well, I'm not saying that this dude. I'm not saying he's gonna start.
I get it.
I'm just saying, as for a depth piece, for a guy who's played right tackle, he's played guard, he's played center in college, in Alabama, where it's as pro as you can get in college. I think that guy is very enticing. I think he could be a dude that can find his way on the roster, depending on how he plays this game.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be Holden, so I think that spot's up for grabs.
Yeah,
I like Holden, just not as a center.
My one of my biggest fear though is like this offensive line is looking so good in the preseason. When week 1 comes, they look so bad. Like they look like crap. Like
I'm confident about just one position on that line.
We know, but
Feliciano.
But they're facing a monster D line week 1. Like if they look good in week 1, the Giants fans are gonna be freaking ecstatic.
That's gonna be an interesting game. And it's going to be interesting as all hell to watch. Like, do they keep this pace up? But I feel like I jinx everything. That's why I'm not talking up like this offensive line at all. Like, to me, I'm going to treat them like shit until they're good because
until I see them in when it counts.
Yeah,
I will say something positive, and then like 6 guys will get injured, and it'll be like, all right, we're on our 9th right tackle or some shit. Like, nah, I'm good. Let me see. I'll wait till Tennessee.
Nah, yeah, I agree with you, bro. Something too is like it's funny. People keep tweeting this all the time. It feels like we can't have nice things, because we just every time we have something nice, it just gets hurt. For me, and listen, after hearing all you guys, I've completely changed my opinion. I agree. Like if you got some guys that you don't need to see at all, like Xavier, like Andrew Thomas, I would say Xavier at all, I don't want to see him in the game at all. If you want to give him one series, one drive, perfect. That's fine. But I would not want to see him at all.
Let him hold a kick.
Yeah, let him hold a kick. Yeah, exactly.
Julian Love special.
But let everybody play. I don't care if there's risk of injury potential. It's football. Stop. Only us fans are scared. When you're putting on pads on, you're not thinking about I'm going to get hurt. You're thinking about I want to have fun. I want to play. I want to be productive. I want to earn a roster spot. So whoever the hell the coaches need to see out there, absolutely go. Me, preferably, who I don't want to see, Xavier, Thomas, Daniel Jones. I don't want to see Saquon. Those guys, Leonard Williams. I don't want to see Leonard Williams. And I would say that's it. Those are the only 5 guys who I don't want to see.
Even if Kadarius Toney's healthy, don't play him. What the hell would be the point of that?
Oh, I want to see Tony.
Selfish reasons, me too. Warrior season.
For selfish reasons, and is at the end of the day, what Tony has done. Tony's on the same boat as Wendell. To me, he's just another rookie. He hasn't. First of all, he's still technically a rookie. He don't have enough games to qualify as like a second-year player. I don't even think so. But like. Yeah, put Tony in there if Tony could play. Unless it's like an injury risk or whatever, throw that man in there.
Lawrence shouldn't play.
Yeah, I'm cool with Dexter Lawrence not playing either because he's shown that, even though his backup, whoever the hell is backing him up, like, we are good at nose tackle. I don't know who it was, but I saw somebody post.
It was probably Nick Williams. I mean, he had about an 81.4 overall grade on 10 defensive snaps. And 72 overall in run defense as well.
It was somebody
Lawrence
who
played
was
well
just
as well.
killing it.
Yeah. I'm comfortable with our D line and how our O line is played, even with the injuries on both sides.
So if Jets want to play their starters and the coaches want to play their starters, just don't play the guys that we know that could be Pro Bowl potential. Leave those guys out if anything. But if you want to bring everybody in. Bring everybody in. Sal just finished saying there's 3 weeks to the next game, yo.
One or two series, you guys.
Stop being on that vagina stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's football, bro.
Yeah.
But
I think I still have like bad memories of Joe Judge, just like not letting these guys get reps.
That's something that I to this day I'm like,
you hated that,
bro.
You hated
that shit. Like, yo, don't tell me that combined practices is the same as in-game preseason games. It's not. It's a whole different situation. You cannot simulate that environment in practice. I don't care. You can't convince me of that.
Right.
Yeah,
I
really, and I remember Joe Judge. What did he say? Well, we're going to view the first 3 games as like an extension of the preseason. I mean, I hated everything about Joe.
Oh, that was so bad.
But you know, like I just think that I don't see them sitting everybody unless people start getting hurt this week in practice, which might happen. But I think they're going to play the starters at least on offense for a series or 2. I'm not thinking you got to run them out and run them on the ground, but a series or 2, keep them fresh, pull them off the field, and then let like 3+ quarters or so be just the guys battling for run. That's what I want to see.
So,
and I want to see the backups play against some of the ones. If the Jets keep their ones on the field, you know, I want to see that.
We just haven't seen our ones play against ones, so that's actually a good thing right there. Like we haven't seen that.
I promised myself I would follow Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen into hell if they ask. So I'll follow them if they decide that the best thing to do is get these guys to start. Yeah,
I'm down. Real quick, Cookie Monster said, and by the way, is one of my frat bros. I'm assuming because he's a tight grips. Should we trade for Roquan from the Bears? I don't even think we can afford that guy. Can we? Is there any?
We can't afford that. No. Any trade with him is going to involve an extension.
Yeah, and which is impossible.
I would love the players. That would be awesome, but no. Let's pay our guys first.
And we're gonna have nice cap. If we want him, we could get him in free agency this upcoming season, right?
Yeah, and then there's we're gonna have enough money. I know a lot of people said the free agency list doesn't look that great, but it doesn't look flaw either. So
things change too.
That's true.
Dexter Lawrence, real quick. He said question mark Dexter Lawrence, but what, like Dexter Lawrence, you happy with what you? I'm just real quick, just yes or no. What you guys?
Yeah.
You like what you see out of Dexter so far this preseason?
Yeah. I mean, 83 pass rush grade after he picked up 1 pressure on his 7 pass rush snaps. Mm-hmm. I think in the interior D line as a D tackle, he's perfect. Mm-hmm. And I'm all part of the Dexy team. So shout out Dexy.
They should do with him what they should have done with Dalvin Tomlinson and just fucking sign him to an extension. I don't care if $10 million a year,
yes,
$12 million a year sounds like too much to some of you guys. Like he does what he does really well. He's reliable. Like anytime we don't have a nose or whatever you want to define it as, a guy who can work at the 0 all the way to the 3. Mm-hmm. Like anytime we don't have one of those guys there. Yeah, I fucking lose my mind.
That's a problem. That's a big problem.
On defense.
No, I agree.
And to take it a step further, you need that guy in a Wink Martindale defense. You absolutely need that guy.
Which frees your middle linebackers.
0 to 1. Exactly. Mm-hmm. You need your 0 tech to be, like you talk about guys. They're not traditionally like 0s and 1s, like traditional like roles like they used to be. But think of him as a 2-gap guy, right? Like he's gonna be a guy who's gonna sit in there and he's just gonna eat space. And I want him up there. And he's so damn strong, athletic. He was sort of like Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt before those guys came out. He's a big dude. You stick in the middle. You cannot block him.
He's gotten bigger this year. He's gotten bigger too.
And I think he had the 7 reps, like Manny said. If you look at, I think Nick Falato posted the all 22s of those reps, and 2 or 3 of those. I mean, he was in the backfield. He had the center on ice skates pushing back like 6-7 yards.
That's beautiful.
And,
that's beautiful.
Love it.
This is a guy like you put him on the field and your linebackers are just running free, right? And with scheme blitzes, you need this guy. So I would lock him up for like a 2-3 year deal and an extension beyond next year. I think the price will be cheaper now than it might be. So I would just sit down with his agent and work this out. So absolutely, I love Dex. I think he's got to be a Giant for a long time.
So I agree with, and I'm just gonna touch back what Vic said. And this is the mistake this is like one of the big. Obviously, Dave Gettleman had a lot of mistakes, but one that hurt me so much was analytically when we traded for Leonard Williams. The analytics said this guy's a monster. his quarterback hits, his pressures, all this stuff was off the charts. Well, you know what wasn't off the charts? Sacks. He wasn't getting the pretty numbers. But everything told you, hey, if you maybe get somebody to let the quarterback hold the ball for a little bit longer, he's gonna eat. What happened? We didn't sign him. The next season, he had a great year, and then we had to give him a crazy monster contract. I hope that this regime, before the season ends, in the middle of the year, locks up Dexter Lawrence if they see things going good. Like, even if it's not the pretty numbers, the sacks, the tackles for a loss, even though I think tackle for a loss will be there, please get this guy in a long-term deal. You know?
Yes.
I would sign him to an extension before the first week of the season. Like, you know what you got with him, and it's good. So why not just bang it out now?
Do you think so do you think they 100% know what they got from him, or do you think that maybe they haven't pulled the trigger yet because they haven't seen him against ones?
No, let me rephrase. You know what the floor is with Dexter Lawrence.
Okay.
You know what the minimum is.
Yes.
And if that's the floor which is a starter on every team, fuck it, sign him, extend him, just do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this goes to a bigger discussion, which is, I know a lot of Giants fans want to just dump all the players that we have, but there is a reality coming in the NFL, which is that with the salary cap going way, way up, with all the new streaming money, the gambling money, to be honest, teams, I believe, are going to be locking up their best players way before they ever hit free agency. And the absolute talent pool you're going to see year after year in free agency is going to be lesser and lesser because teams are going to lock up quickly. So if you think about where the Giants are on their trajectory, yes, they're rebuilding. They probably need a couple of years to do this at least. But we have $53 million under the cap next year. We have like 170 or 180 million under the cap a year after that. There's some insane numbers, right?
Right.
You should be on a new rookie deal contract by next year for your quarterback. And I really believe you got to keep your best players, extend them now, pull out that cap savings a few years. I'm talking about Leonard Williams,
smart,
Dexter Lawrence,
just be smart with the contracts.
McKinney.
Which we haven't been. We haven't done that. We haven't been smart with contracts.
Don't let your best players go. Extend them out a few years. Keep them on the roster while you keep drafting and developing the rest of the roster, and you get your quarterback. Because the worst situation you want to be in is you have your quarterback. Let's say it's Anthony Richardson or C.J. Stroud, whoever, right? He's your quarterback year 2.
Bryce Young.
He's ready to win. And guess what? You don't have your interior defensive lineman. Now you got to go find him. You don't have your 3 tech. You got to go find him. You don't have your free safety, your center fielder. You got to go find him.
Be a competent organization, pretty much what you're saying. Because look at, for example, like at teams like the Rams. No, and we really haven't been in a competent organization. Look at the Rams. Look at Tampa Bay. Like, these guys have a lot of elite players. Ravens, Bills, and how come they're not dealing with salary cap problems? How come we had to let Tomlinson go? How come we had to let all these guys go? Like, what? Like, it's because you guys are not a competent front office.
Well, I just think you got to keep your best players, do it smartly under the cap, but you got to try to win in that rookie quarterback window if you can. You cannot win in that window if you have a bunch of roster holes you created because you let guys go to create cap space you didn't need anymore, right? And I think that's where I'm looking at it. I'm thinking these are guys I would lock up now. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Xavier McKinney you're going to have to talk to by the end of this season. Andrew Thomas, I put a 5th-year option on him. And then work out a deal with them. These are guys I would start negotiating with, lock them up so they don't have to fill these spots in 2 years.
Copy.
Right.
Copy. Manny, I'm going to give you the last thoughts, man. I know you wanted to say something, so go ahead, brother. Get it off your chest, bro.
Yeah. So, obviously, everyone... Let me... Rant alert. Yeah, obviously, everyone probably heard that Chris Sims talk he had with... talking about Daniel Jones and pretty much calling fans stupid for criticizing everything Daniel Jones does in preseason and in practice and us not knowing what's going on. But then also he contradicts himself in criticizing Kayvon Thibodeau. That was hilarious. That didn't make no sense to me. But he is right to an extent. We're over here analyzing every single thing that every Giant does during practice. Like one day, oh, the offense looks bad. Another day, man, the defense didn't step up. This and that. I'm just so ready, and I'm so fed up with us talking about the preseason. I'm so fed up with us analyzing every single thing. And September 11th cannot get here fast enough, because we will finally have our questions answered. We will finally know what the hell this team looks like. I'm so hyped to be able to look at it and talk about it with y'all. I'm just ready. And yeah, listen, let's just stop analyzing every single thing this man DJ does. I'm not on DJ. I'm off that boat. But I'm hoping and praying to God that this man proves me wrong. So I'm going to support him until he's not a Giant anymore. But also, too, I don't want to just keep going ahead and looking at practice tape and being like, oh, man, we're 4-12 or whatever the hell, 4-13. Here we come. Like, let's just get to September 11th and go from there.
I got you, brother. Absolutely. Vic, before you get out, and I want to appreciate you coming in as well, Sal. Vic, what's your season prediction on record? I just want to hear that.
We are going 20-0. All right.
Oh, so you're the Redskins now.
Daniel Jones is breaking every passing record and every rushing record. Saquon Barkley is rushing for 4,000. No.
Do your dance.
I would kill to make first round playoffs. I would kill for that. If we get anywhere close to that, I think there's the potential there. If at its peak, this team could sneak into a playoff.
Yes.
But being realistic,
Rick, realistic. Tell me what you think this is. I before you even go, because I think you're kind of hesitant there. I think this is a 10-win team right now. Even with Daniel Jones. I think if we could get 27 touchdowns out of Daniel Jones, which I think we definitely can, I think this is a 10-win team.
I was in the comment section on the Giants report, and I was saying I would blow a homeless man behind ShopRite for 21 points per game from this fucking team.
We need more than that.
Score some fucking points. At least
we need more than
that. But 10 wins gets us into the playoffs in the NFC East. Let's be straight.
Yes,
the dead skins are the dead skins. Yeah, right. It gets us there.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think 6-7 wins is probably more realistic. But the losses got to be fucking competitive. It's got to be what was it? 2017, I think, or 2015, where we were losing games by 2-3 points most games. Where it was this moron didn't tip the ball into safety's hands. More if it's like that, I'm still gonna be okay with this season.
Cookie Monster's got it at 5-12. He's surprised that I got 10 wins. I like what I see so far, man. I don't know. Even if we have quarterback problems, I do like what I see. And here's one thing that nobody has even talked about. People have talked about it, but Tennessee still cannot look at film and say they know what the hell we're doing week 1. We're catching Tennessee butt naked. They have no idea what we're doing, because what we've seen in preseason games, we know for a fact that's not the Giants' offense how it's going to be. There's going to be more motion and stuff like that. Does Tennessee have a better team than us? Probably, but listen, you could get out coached any day of the week, and I would prefer my team to out coach a team, and if we lose by talent, cool. We're gonna win a lot of games if we're be able to have the best coaching staff. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Sal, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate your time here. You can find him at Queens_guy. Vic up there, man. Thank you for coming through, brother. Again, you're more than welcome to ever come through again. You can find his podcast on Spotify, Just a Giants Fans Podcast. Go ahead. Tell me what else you besides Spotify, where are you also?
It's up on SoundCloud first, Spotify, iTunes, and it was on Google, whatever. I'll figure that part out
Google
again.
Play.
And Stitcher.
There you go, brother. You're all over social media on all type of platforms, so I appreciate that. Manny, Another episode, another day, another dollar for us, man. You already know, bro.
Another day, another dollar. Agenda
Pusher 58.
I am pushing agendas until we get the chip.
You can find me
Love you guys.
at BT Giants. Everybody, thank you so much for joining in. Everybody on the chat that came through. We appreciate y'all, man. Come through next time. Like, subscribe. We appreciate all the love. Have a good one, guys.